Welcome back to Chairman's Briefing. I'm Rachel Lee. This episode is brought to you by Cult Food Science. Let's get into it. The gold market's remarkable journey in 2024 reads like a perfect storm of bullish forces. Central banks emerged as powerful buyers, particularly in China and emerging markets. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve's shift towards easier monetary policy breathed new life into gold's appeal. Against the backdrop of conflicts in Ukraine, plus the Middle East, investors sought refuge in gold's time-tested role as a safe haven. These forces remain more or less intact going into 2025. Now, of course, investors are also braced for Donald Trump's second term and view his upcoming presidency as another compelling reason to hold gold. They're preparing their portfolios for shifts in global trade and economic policy. Concerning the accumulation trend that gained momentum throughout 2024, a portfolio manager at Pacific Investment Management named Greg Chernow believes investment diversification through bullion purchases is, quote, a trend that will persist. Chernow also added that he expects central banks and high net worth families to continue to find gold attractive. A fascinating power struggle shapes Goldman Sachs' latest outlook for gold. The investment bank now sees the precious metal reaching $3,000 per ounce in mid-2026, which is later than its previous 2025 target. The gold market faces two powerful opposing forces. On one side, central banks maintain robust purchasing programs and is expected to average 38 tons monthly through 2026. This systematic buying provides steady support for prices. On the opposite side, speculative demand through exchange-traded funds has weakened, particularly following reduced market uncertainty after the United States election. Goldman Sachs analysts project gold prices will reach $2,910 per ounce by year-end 2025. This revised forecast reflects expectations of fewer interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. The bank now anticipates 75 basis points in total reductions, which is down from earlier predictions of 100 basis points. Barrick has given Mali a one-week ultimatum, and the countdown started on January 6th. It's a response to the military-run leadership extending a shipping ban on Barrick's Loulo-Gounkoto complex to include the site's on-hand gold stock. Barrick plans to suspend operations at the site if no resolution is made. President of Barrick, Mark Bristow, describes these new restrictions as unwarranted as the expanded shipping ban violates existing dispute resolution agreements. Despite the bubbling drama, Barrick continues to pursue both international arbitration plus direct negotiations with Mali's government. The Loulo-Gounkoto complex holds over 7 million ounces in gold reserves and represents more than 10% of Barrick's annual production. This escalating situation continues to weigh down on Barrick's share price, even as gold trades near record levels. The Biden administration has granted a final mining permit to Perpetua Resources for its stibnite project in Idaho, 1 month after China blocked antimony exports to the United States. This timing proves significant. The United States currently has no domestic antimony production and has to rely heavily on Chinese supplies for this strategic metal. China's recent export ban exposed this vulnerability in America's supply chain. The metal is essential for weapons manufacturing, solar panels, plus flame retardants. The stibnite project represents America's only identified antimony reserve. Perpetua plans to produce enough to meet 35% of United States demand in its first 6 years. Shares of Vizsla Silver gained some traction after the company dropped a resource update for its wholly owned flagship project called Panuco in Mexico. The company reports a 43% increase in its highest confidence resource categories, now totaling 222 million ounces of silver equivalent. Notable in this update is the project's first measured resource. This category contains 46 million ounces of silver equivalent at grades of 640 grams per ton. The results stem from an extensive drilling campaign spanning 11 veins across the property. Vizsla CEO Michael stressed that this represents only a snapshot of the project's potential. The resource update comes just 4 years after initial discovery, with all veins remaining open for expansion. The company has completed nearly 1,000 drill holes since late 2019. Cult Food Science is a pioneer that's investing and commercializing lab-grown meat and cellular agriculture across North America. They've recently announced that their pet food product line called New Cheese can now be purchased with popular cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. K92 Mining celebrates exceptional performance at its K92 gold mine in Papua New Guinea. The operation delivered record quarterly production of about 53,000 ounces of gold equivalent in the fourth quarter of 2024. Now, this achievement marks a 37% increase from the previous quarter. Beyond the single quarter, K92 surpassed its annual production targets, reaching about 150,000 ounces of gold equivalent in 2024. This represents a 27% increase from the previous year and significantly exceeds company guidance. Major developments ahead include K92's Stage 3 expansion project, designed to transform K92 into a major mining operation. Construction progress reaches 70% completion, with the new processing plant scheduled to start operations in mid-2025. President Joe Biden has moved to block new offshore oil and gas drilling across vast areas of American coastal waters. This last-minute executive action protects nearly 253 million hectares of federal waters from future development. The ban covers coastlines along California, Florida, parts of Alaska, and other states. However, it excludes the Gulf of Mexico, where most United States offshore drilling currently takes place. President-elect Donald Trump has vowed swift action to reverse the ban after his inauguration. However, legal experts note that Biden's use of a 72-year-old law makes these protections difficult to overturn without congressional approval. The decision has drawn sharp reactions across the board. Environmental groups have praised the move to protect coastal communities, while the offshore energy industry has warned that the ban could limit America's ability to respond to global energy challenges. KoBold Metals has secured $537 million to advance its search for battery metals. Backed by investors such as Microsoft's Bill Gates and Amazon's Jeff Bezos, KoBold operates like a high-tech prospector. Its systems analyze multiple data streams, from historical drilling records to satellite imagery, creating what it calls a Google Maps of the Earth's crust. Now, this technology identifies geological patterns that signal valuable mineral deposits that traditional methods may have overlooked. Most of KoBold's new capital will be directed to its flagship copper project in Zambia. Their goal is to produce at least 300,000 tons of copper per year by 2030, making it the country's largest copper operation. And that's a wrap for this briefing. Make sure to subscribe and catch you in the next video, only on CEO.CA.